Barack Obama just made the most stunning admission any former president has ever made about extraterrestrial life. During a podcast interview that dropped Saturday, the 44th President of the United States was asked point blank if aliens are real. His answer? They're real, but I haven't seen them. Stop. Read that again. A former President of the United States just said on the record that aliens are real. Not, I don't know, not, that's classified, not, I can't comment on that. He said they're real. He just hasn't seen them personally. This isn't some conspiracy theorist making wild claims. This isn't some anonymous government insider leaking information. This is Barack Obama, a man who had access to the most classified information on Earth for 8 years, who was briefed by intelligence agencies on the deepest secrets the government holds, telling the world that aliens are real. But here's where it gets even more explosive. Obama also revealed what his very first question was after becoming President of the United States. Not about terrorism, not about the economy, not about foreign policy. His first question was, where are the aliens? Think about that. The most powerful man in the world, on his first day with access to the nation's deepest secrets, immediately asked about extraterrestrial life. That tells you everything you need to know about how significant this topic is behind closed doors. Obama also addressed Area 51 specifically, saying there's no underground facility keeping aliens unless there's this enormous conspiracy and they hid it from the President of the United States, which is actually a fascinating non-denial because he's leaving the door open to the possibility that information could be hidden even from the President. And then he said something that should make everyone pay attention. He confirmed that officials are seriously investigating aircraft that behave in seemingly unexplainable ways. He said there is footage and records of objects in the skies that we don't know exactly what they are, that move in ways that can't be explained, with trajectories that don't follow any easily explainable pattern. This is not New Age speculation. This is a former president confirming that the U.S. government has documented evidence of objects in our skies that defy our understanding of physics and technology. When you understand the full context of what Obama said, when it fits into the broader pattern of government disclosure about UAPs over the past few years, and when you realize what this means for everything we thought we knew about our place in the universe, you'll see this is one of the most important interviews any president has ever given. Let me break down exactly what Obama said, what he didn't say, what the government has been hiding, and why disclosure is happening right now in 2026. The interview happened on Brian Tyler Cohen's podcast on Saturday, February 15th, 2026. Cohen asked Obama directly, "Are aliens real?" Obama's exact words, "They're real, but I haven't seen them." Let's parse this incredibly carefully because every word matters. They're real, not they might be real, not some people think they're real, not the evidence suggests they could be real. They're real. Present tense. Declarative statement, but I haven't seen them. This qualifier is fascinating because it implies that while he personally hasn't seen aliens, the reason he knows they're real is based on information he received as president. Otherwise, why would he make such a definitive statement? Think about how a normal person would answer this question if they didn't have access to classified information. They'd say, "I don't know," or "I believe they probably exist somewhere in the universe," or "The universe is too big for us to be alone." Obama didn't say any of that. He said they're real, like he knows, like he was told, like he has information the rest of us don't have. Then Cohen asked about Area 51, the legendary Nevada Air Force base that has been the center of alien conspiracy theories for decades. Obama said, "There's no underground facility unless there's this enormous conspiracy, and they hid it from the President of the United States." On the surface, this sounds like a denial. But listen to the qualifier. Unless there's this enormous conspiracy and they hid it from the president. Obama is a lawyer. He's extremely careful with language. He's acknowledging the possibility that information could be compartmentalized to such a degree that even the president wouldn't have access to it. This idea isn't as crazy as it sounds. Multiple presidents and high-level officials have suggested that some programs are so classified that even presidents aren't fully briefed on them. The classification system allows for special access programs that operate above presidential oversight. So Obama is technically denying knowledge of alien bodies at Area 51, while simultaneously leaving the door open to the possibility that such a program could exist without his knowledge. That's not the statement of someone who's confident there are no aliens at Area 51. That's the statement of someone who wasn't shown aliens at Area 51, but recognizes that doesn't prove they're not there. Then comes the most revealing part of the entire interview. Cohen asked what Obama's first question was after becoming president. Obama laughed and said, where are the aliens? He's joking in his delivery, but he's also admitting something profound. The very first thing he wanted to know when he gained access to the nation's deepest secrets was whether aliens exist and where they are. Why would that be his first question unless he had reason to believe the government actually has that information? Why would he waste his first presidential briefing asking about aliens if he thought it was just conspiracy theory nonsense? The fact that it was his first question tells you that Obama, like most informed people, believed the government knows more about extraterrestrial life than it tells the public, and he wanted to know what they know. Now let's talk about what Obama said about UAPs and why this is the most important part of the entire interview. Obama confirmed that there is footage and records of objects in the skies that the government cannot identify or explain. He said these objects move in ways that defy explanation, with trajectories that don't follow any easily explainable pattern. He said officials are taking this seriously and actively investigating. This confirmation from a former president validates everything the UAP disclosure movement has been saying for years. The government has evidence of objects that appear to violate our understanding of physics. They're studying these objects. They don't know what they are. This isn't the first time Obama has talked about this. In 2021, he made similar comments on The Late Late Show with James Corden. He said that after taking office, he asked about aliens and secret labs and was told no. But he also said there are objects in the sky that officials are seriously investigating because they move in unexplainable ways. So Obama has been consistent on this message for years. The government has documented evidence of anomalous objects. They're studying them seriously. They don't know what they are. What's changed between 2021 and now is the level of directness. In 2021, he carefully avoided saying aliens are real. In 2026, he just said it plainly. Something shifted. Either Obama feels more free to speak openly now that he's been out of office for years, or the level of government disclosure has progressed to the point where he feels comfortable being more direct. Let's talk about what the government has actually disclosed about UAPs in recent years, because Obama's comments exist in a much broader context. In 2023, Congress passed the Unidentified Anomalous Phenomena Disclosure Act. This was major legislation requiring government agencies to declassify information about UAPs. The Department of Defense created the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, or ARO, specifically to investigate UAPs. This is an official Pentagon office with a budget and staff dedicated entirely to studying unexplained objects. In 2024 and 2025, there were multiple congressional hearings where military personnel and intelligence officials testified under oath about UAP encounters. Pilots described objects that accelerated at impossible speeds, made right-angle turns at high velocity, and appeared to operate without visible propulsion systems. David Grush, a former intelligence official, testified that the U.S. government has recovered non-human spacecraft and biological remains. He said this under oath before Congress. Whether you believe Grush or not, the fact that Congress held hearings where witnesses made these claims under oath represents a massive shift in how seriously the government is taking this issue. There have been documented cases of UAPs interfering with nuclear facilities. In one 1982 incident that was discussed in congressional testimony, UFOs nearly activated Russian nuclear missiles. Objects appearing over nuclear sites has been a consistent pattern for decades. Why would extraterrestrial or non-human intelligence be interested in our nuclear weapons? That's a question nobody in government wants to answer publicly, but it's clearly something they're concerned about. The footage that's been released shows objects that move in ways that seem to violate physics as we understand it. The famous Tic Tac video from Navy pilots shows an object that accelerated from a standstill to supersonic speeds instantly. No visible propulsion, no sonic boom, no heat signature. Multiple trained military observers tracked these objects on radar and with their own eyes. These aren't random civilians seeing lights in the sky. These are professional pilots and radar operators documenting objects that behave unlike anything in our known arsenal. Obama confirmed all of this. He said the footage exists, the records exist. Officials are taking it seriously because they can't explain it. So when Obama says aliens are real, he's not just speculating about the statistical probability of life elsewhere in the universe. He's confirming what the UAP disclosure over the past few years has been telling us. There are non-human objects in our skies, and the government doesn't know what they are. Now let's talk about why disclosure is happening now, and why it's happening gradually rather than all at once. If the government has known about extraterrestrial life for decades, why start disclosing it now? Why the slow drip of information through congressional hearings and official reports rather than a big announcement? There are several theories, and they're not mutually exclusive. Theory 1, the technology has advanced to the point where keeping it secret is impossible, with millions of people carrying high-quality cameras in their pockets, with commercial satellite imagery becoming more accessible, with civilian drone technology allowing people to monitor the skies, it's becoming impossible to keep UAP encounters secret. So the government is getting ahead of the story by disclosing on their own terms rather than being forced to react to civilian discoveries. Theory 2, foreign adversaries have made breakthroughs in understanding UAP technology or have their own contact with non-human intelligence. If China or Russia is about to go public with their own UAP information, the US wants to control the narrative by disclosing first. Theory 3, the phenomenon itself is increasing in frequency and visibility. There are more UAP encounters now than in previous decades, or the objects are being less careful about being observed. Eventually, this would force disclosure because the encounters would become too numerous to hide. Theory 4. There's a faction within government that believes the public has a right to know, and they're pushing disclosure despite resistance from elements that want to keep everything classified. Theory 5. Something is coming. An event or contact that will make the existence of non-human intelligence undeniable. The government is preparing the public gradually so that when the big reveal happens, people aren't completely shocked. Obama's comments fit into all of these theories. A former president speaking more openly about aliens helps normalize the topic. It prepares the public for additional disclosures. It signals that this is a legitimate topic worthy of serious discussion. When Joe Biden was asked about Obama's 2021 comments on UAPs, he deflected and said, "I would ask Obama again." That's not a denial. That's a sitting president refusing to engage with the topic, while his predecessor is speaking openly about it. Why the difference? Maybe Obama feels more free to speak because he's out of office. Maybe there are things sitting presidents aren't allowed to discuss that former presidents can hint at. Maybe Biden genuinely doesn't know as much as Obama did. Or maybe Biden knows a lot more and is being careful not to say too much, while Obama is strategically disclosing to prepare the public. Let's talk about what this means for religious and philosophical frameworks, because the confirmation of extraterrestrial life would be the most profound discovery in human history. Every religion would have to grapple with the implications. Are aliens part of God's creation? Do they have souls? Are they subject to the same spiritual laws as humans? The theological questions are enormous. Our entire understanding of human importance and centrality in the universe would be challenged. We're not alone. We're not unique. We're not the only intelligent life. That's a massive psychological adjustment for humanity. Scientific frameworks would need to be updated. If these objects move in ways that violate our understanding of physics, then our understanding of physics is incomplete. We'd need new theories to explain how these objects operate. Political and social structures would be affected. If we're being visited by more advanced civilizations, what does that mean for human sovereignty? For national borders? For our political systems? Economic systems could be disrupted if advanced technology from non-human sources becomes available. Energy technology, propulsion systems, materials science, all could be revolutionized. The confirmation of aliens isn't just a scientific footnote. It's a civilization-altering revelation that affects every aspect of human life. And Obama just casually said they're real in a podcast interview. Let's talk about what questions remain unanswered, because Obama's comments raise more questions than they answer. If aliens are real, where are they from? Are they from other planets in our galaxy, from other dimensions, from the future? Are they biological or artificial intelligence? How long have they been here? Are these recent visitors, or have they been observing Earth for thousands of years? Are UFO sightings throughout history all connected to the same phenomenon? What do they want? Are they just observing? Are they interfering? Do they have an agenda regarding humanity? Are they helping or hindering our development? Why haven't they made open contact? If they're advanced enough to travel here and sophisticated enough to avoid detection when they want to, why not just land on the White House lawn and introduce themselves? What does the government actually know? Obama said he hasn't seen aliens, but confirmed they're real. So what information does he have that led him to that conclusion? What was he briefed on that he can't fully disclose? Are we in contact? Is there ongoing communication between human governments and non-human intelligence? Are there agreements or treaties we don't know about? These questions won't be answered in a single podcast interview, but Obama's willingness to confirm aliens are real opens the door to asking these questions more seriously. We're living through the slow-motion disclosure of the most important discovery in human history, and most people are barely paying attention because it's happening gradually through congressional hearings and podcasts rather than through dramatic announcements. But make no mistake, when future historians look back at this period, Obama's comments will be seen as a major milestone, a former president confirming on the record that aliens are real. That's not a small thing, that's everything. Vice President J.D. Vance has also weighed in on this topic recently. He said UFOs and aliens could be spiritual forces and vowed to get to the bottom of the mystery. So we have a former Democratic president and a current Republican vice president both taking UAPs seriously and speaking about them publicly. This is becoming a bipartisan issue that transcends normal political divisions. When politicians from both parties agree on something, especially something this profound, it's worth paying attention. Here's the bottom line. Barack Obama, former president of the United States, just confirmed on the record that aliens are real. He said his first question upon becoming president was, "Where are the aliens?" He confirmed the government has footage and records of objects that move in unexplainable ways. He said officials are seriously investigating. This is happening. Disclosure is real. The government is slowly admitting what researchers have been saying for decades. We're not alone. There are non-human intelligences interacting with Earth. The government knows more than it's saying, but it's saying more now than it ever has before. Obama's interview is part of a gradual process of preparing humanity for the biggest revelation in our history, the confirmation of extraterrestrial life. Pay attention. This is just the beginning.